This video will quickly outline how to use the template to report Advanced Opportunities activity for spring and summer of 2015. Now, this reporting method is an interim solution until we have the Advanced Opportunities application up and running for the fall of 2015. Now, when you first open up this Microsoft Excel document, you're going to see that there are 4 pages in this document. The first page outlines the totals. The second page has a place for you to report fast forward activity. The third page is for early completers activity, and the last page is for 8 and 6. So let's take a look at how to use this. We'll go to fast forward first. Now, there are formulas built into this spreadsheet, and so you'll find that as you're putting in information, it will populate totals for you. So let's take a look at John Doe here. I have his EDU ID, his grade level, what high school he attends, and then his remaining balance. Now, what you'll find in this sheet is there are 4 sections. This first section that I just went over is your student demographics. The second section, that is in various shades of blue, is to report dual credit courses. The third section, which is in various shades of green, is to report exam activity. And the last section here is a summary of all the reimbursements that were reported in the other sections. So here I have John Doe, who has $253.75 left that he can use for the spring. And so I'm going to report his courses here. Now, here I have a English course through CSI, $65 and 3 credits. When I go to column K, you'll see that there is a formula built in, and so the 75% there is already populated. And so if I change this to 2 credits, that will change accordingly. Now, a question that came up is, why is there a maximum of $100 per credit? The law requires that we are not allowed to pay more than $75 per credit. So if you do the math, 75% of 100 is $75. So the cost per credit cannot exceed $100. So let's say that I need to report a second course for John Doe. Let's say it's a math course, Math 108, through CWI. It's $65 a credit and 3 credits, and voila, his reimbursement for that class is populated. Now let's go over and say that I need to report an AP exam for John Doe. So let's say he took AP History. Now, the exam type, this can be AP, IB, CLEP, or PTE. And AP exams are generally $91, so he is eligible for $68.25 in reimbursements. Now, something that comes up quite commonly is a student receives a scholarship or a subsidy for the exam. So let's say that John Doe is eligible for free and reduced lunch and receives an exam, and so he's only paying $12. So I am going to override the $68.25 manually and type in $12 in the reimbursement total column. Now, I'm also going to go over to the summary section and just leave a comment that says received scholarship. I can spell for exam. And so that will indicate to us why that was changed. Now let's take a look here. In column AY, I see the total of all the reimbursements that were put in. And then finally in column AZ, this is the final determination. Because John Doe only had $53.75 left in his account, the State Department will only reimburse $53.75. And so essentially this column applies that cap. Now in the very end, if you add up all of the totals in column AZ, that will determine how much the State Department owes your school district for fast forward. And you would report that right here in the first page. So let's say after I put in all of my fast forward students that the State Department owes my school district $23,000. So I would put that in here. Now let's take a look at early completers. Here we have Jane Doe. I have her information here. Now you'll notice that the early completers page looks very similar to the fast forward page, also has 4 sections. So Jane Doe here is taking a psychology course through NIC, $65, 2 credits, and then the same sort of thing applies here as it did in fast forward. The only difference between these pages is that you don't need to calculate a remaining balance, and there is no formula for the 75% split because that does not apply in early completers. And so when we go over here to the end, you'll see that their total reimbursement is here in orange. And so same thing here, you will add all these together and that will determine your total for early completers. So let's say that this was our only early completer in our school district, and so the State Department owes $220 for this program. And finally, we'll go to 8 and 6, and this one has a lot less information that's required. Here I have a James Wilson, his EDUID, his grade level, and what high school he attends. And in column F, I need to report how many 8 and 6 courses has James previously taken. So he's already taken 3. He's eligible for up to 8 over the course of his lifetime. And so now I'm going to report a keyboarding course through IDLA, which is $75, and a PE course through IDLA at $75. And so the State Department owes us $150 for James Wilson for his 8 and 6 courses. And so I'm going to go over here and report that in my totals. And so through this, you see that the State Department owes this particular school district $23,370 for advanced opportunities. If you have questions or concerns, feel free to contact us. I'm available here in regions 3-4 and happy to help across the state. We also have Stephanie Childress, who's available to help up north, and Shoshana Covington over in the eastern regions. We're more than happy to help in any way that we can. If you have questions about this, or feel free to leave comments, and we'll definitely support you in any way that we can to make sure that you're able to provide us with the information that we need to get your districts reimbursed. And that there is how you use the template for advanced opportunities.